Welcome to Latina Mic Drop, the podcast where you can show up and show out, where bold moves are not only encouraged but the standard. This is where excellence meets simplicity and common sense. I'm Miriam Simon, your host, a leadership coach, author, speaker, a mom of 3 young adults, a grandma in my 40s, and a spouse to the most beautiful, kind soul. On a mission to empower 1 million people to continue to tap into their exponential power. If you're out there building your own family and your own future from scratch, you're in the right place. Join me as we explore the stories, strategies, and secrets that can turn your hustle into legacy and peace of mind. Ready to transform your life? Let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Latina Mic Drop. We are in the last day of March. I am getting really excited and really in my go mode because the book is coming out and I'm really excited about it. So, Tattoos and Pearls is coming out April 11th, and I'm really excited about it. And it's been go for over a year. And just so people know, like, it does take some time to be able to talk about what you want to talk about. What is the idea? What is the book that you want to write? How is it that you want to write it? What is your writing style? What is your writing technique? Who do you want to include? Who you don't want to include? And it's been a real journey for me. So I'm really excited about that. As I go into the month of April, it will be countdown time. We're going into the second quarter. I feel like I'm going into the second quarter of not only the year, but the second quarter, the second phase of my book journey. The first one was really about what was it that I wanted to write about and what was it that I wanted to do, like what is it that I wanted to talk about. And I really wasn't sure in the beginning. I knew I had the title from the beginning, Tattoos and Pearls, and we wanted to combine my life experiences. And I thought at the beginning it was just going to be like a memoir about all my life. But then again, as I journeyed through, I became a certified coach and I was thinking about rebranding myself into a new coach, into a new leader, into a new area, into a new arena, into a new field. So then I was thinking about, okay, I need to rebrand myself because what I was doing before was very different than what I'm doing now. And so now I'm entering into the second phase of it. And during the writing journey, which was something that I really wanted to do and I really needed to do, was the fact that I needed to meet myself and be able to understand where I was and understand what my journey was, understand what the lessons were, what the pearls of wisdom were, and then go from there and say, you know what? Now that I'm a certified coach, now, I wasn't too sure if I wanted to have my own business or go into business by myself or not do it. Like, how did I want to incorporate coaching into my world? I knew that I wanted to be a coach because somebody gave me the gift of coaching and somebody was able to see me for me, right? Because coaching is the world where you know that the client is all resourceful, meaning that the client has everything they need to get to where they're going, to be able to find out what their goals are. The coach is the person who helps bring it out and the person who helps see themselves and the person who is there, kind of like, it's not like even like a guide. It's almost like you're extracting and helping them see themselves and flourish. You're like the miracle grow that's being added to the person, and the person is the one that's evolving and growing and going up like a beautiful flower and flourishing, and every petal starts to come out and every flower starts to look like it's amazing beautifulness, and you see that in front of you. And somebody did that for me, and that's why I wanted to do it for others, because I knew that where I had been had gotten me that far, but what I needed to go further, I didn't have those skills and I didn't have the ability to do so. But now, on the other side, I am more than equipped and I am ready with my certification, and I am 100% in on doing so. right? But the thing is that people see you in a certain light, and they see you in a certain way, and they see you in a certain role, and they think, oh, this is who she is and this is what she's capable of, right? But at many different stages of my life, I've needed to change what I look like to other people, or change people's perception of who I was at the moment. Because as people, we go through different phases of our lives, and we change, we evolve, we move forward, we look different, we think different, we do things differently. And so then throughout my life, I've been able to do that many times. I just wrote them down. I had, just career wise, like 4 times I had to do it. And it was so important that I needed to find where I was going, where I was headed, where I wanted to be, and who I wanted to be. And it was all based on my own experiences, not anybody else's, not what anybody else wanted from me, because other people have their path for you. They think they know what you want, or they think you know what they think they know what you're capable of. But in reality, you know what you're capable of, or you know where you're headed. And just because you don't have the skills today doesn't mean that every single day you can't get there, right? And that's what I've had to learn on my own, and be able to teach others. They say you teach people how to treat you. And if you've never heard of that, I mean, it's the truth. You do teach people how to treat you. And for me, I've done it a few times. And sometimes it is about taking yourself out of one circle and inserting yourself in another circle, right? So sometimes people feel, oh my goodness, I'm being excluded, or I'm not included in a certain space. Maybe it's for the best. We don't see it that way, because sometimes we're like, oh my goodness, it's about me, it's about me, and they don't want me there. But sometimes it could just be redirection. It could be that there's a reason for it outside of what's happening in the, like, what you see in front of you. And what you want to do is say, okay, how is this working for me, right? What is this teaching me? What is it that I can do? What is it that I have full control over? And I've always had full control over how I come across, my behaviors, what I do, who I align myself with, what are the circles that I want to be a part of, what is it that I want to do with myself, with my time, what do I want to say no to? These are all important questions that I ask myself all the time. Is this in alignment with what I want to work on? Does this make sense for what I'm working on? Is this part of my scope of work, right? Whether I'm at work or whether I'm doing something else externally for my own business. And what I want to talk to you today about is, I want to dive into these circumstances where sometimes you do need to rebrand yourself, or where you are in a transition period and rebranding is part of it. There are times where we are working, doing different things, and people get accustomed to the role that we have. And then there is a time where you say, you know what, it's time for me to level up. And now it's my opportunity to go to the next level. And then you need to think about, okay, so if I want to go to the next level, right? Is this the same group of people that I need proximity with to be able to do that? So what you do is, number one is you do an assessment. You audit your current brand, right? You audit where you are. So like in the very beginning, I was a customer service rep. And during that time, it was an entry level position. And I was working at the airport, and I'm greeting customers, right? I'm doing all kinds of things like that. I started as customer service, so I was doing that. Then, when I went into the office and I started doing admin work, I was doing 2 things at the same time. I was an administrative assistant, and I was also a customer service rep. So, half of my job was answering employees' questions and helping them out and helping the management team. And then the other part of my job was being a customer service representative to the passengers at the airport. And then I was doing both of those jobs simultaneously. Half of my time in the morning was admin, half of the time in the afternoon was doing customer service for the passengers. I was thinking about, I need to help help others see me to see where I'm going. So after some time, right, you put in your 10,000 hours and you're really good at what you're doing and you have it all, you reach the max. And so a basic human need is for us to continue to grow. And I've always had that curiosity and I've always had that hunger to continue to grow. What I did is I started to say, okay, now how do I rebrand myself, or how do I let others people see? How do I show? How do I demonstrate that now I am not just a customer service rep? I'm not just an admin. I'm good enough to be a supervisor, right? I've learned the ins and outs of everything, and I've learned everything that needed to happen. I'm to the point where I'm helping them, the management team, create trainings. I'm helping them understand what the processes are, right? And so the beauty about putting in all the hours and the beauty of learning your craft is the fact that you can then begin to teach other people. So when you begin to teach other people, that's a different skill that you end up having. Now you're not just like the busy worker and just doing the work. Now you're able to say, you know what, based on this situation, I can now go ahead and train other people. And you can be the creative partner to be able to come up with these different training sessions. And I've been doing that for a long time. I mean, the training and the helping other people, I think that started as a kid because I was the oldest of 7 and I had to help my brothers and sisters throughout school. I ended up being a peer leader in high school. My parents and grandparents, right, they didn't really speak a lot of English. I always helped them out. And because I was the oldest granddaughter, I was always available and I was always home. I was the one who was able to do things while my aunts and uncles were working. My parents were doing what they were doing, and I was able to help. You end up having these skills, and then you need to level up. I remember advocating for myself and being able to speak to my managers and then being able to go into a different position because now at this point I wasn't doing the administrative assistant work now to the point where I was leveling up to supervisory skills and the training and the knowledge. What you do is then from there, right, you start thinking, okay, how can I have these career conversations with my manager to be able to talk about what's next for me? And so the good thing about this is that when you do speak to your managers and you do speak to your supervisors, they know ahead of time when things could transition or if a vacancy is coming up, right? Maybe somebody is leaving, and then you start thinking, okay, like, how can I be the person that can be thought of the next time something comes up? What I started to do was I started to advocate for myself and I started to say, hey, I would like to become a supervisor or I would like to become a manager. So my first step was to become a supervisor and then be able to do that. Then when I became a supervisor, now you needed new skills. Now you needed to learn how to delegate. You needed to learn how to talk to other people. You need to learn how to influence people. And those are the different skills that you need to learn, right? So you start thinking about what does that identity look like? What entails being a supervisor? What's the difference between being a customer service rep or an admin or wherever your entry level position is? What does that identity look like, right? They always have roles and responsibilities for the jobs. So then I thought about, okay, what's different about this job and what's different about this role that I need to, one, take with me, two, stop. I don't need to continue. I'm going to continue doing it because it's my job. But what is it that I don't need to do going into the supervisory role? What is it that I need to start doing? What is it that I need to learn? Or what is it that I need to continue to do, continue to work on so that I can gain those skills and I can become the best supervisor? You learn those skills, you figure out what they are, you can learn from others, you can sign up for classes, you can look up, right? Do some research. I always learned everything about leadership and supervisories through books. I am the biggest nerd. I read leadership books all the time. I love them. I've been doing it since I was a teenager, since I was in high school. I've been doing it forever. I have like over 20 years of reading leadership books because those were the ones that were going to take me to the next step. And I only had very few mentors, very few managers, very few supervisors. I always had one or two that were great. And guess what? You only need one or two. You don't need to have 5,000 people to help you. You only need one or two. You even learn from the bad ones. Trust me. The bad ones, when you see a bad one, you say, "Ooh, you know what? This one is making me feel this kind of way. I do not want to make other people feel that way. So, what are they doing so that I know not to do that and not emulate that behavior?" I was saying, okay, what do I need to do, right, for the other identity that I'm looking for? So now at this point, you say you want to be crystal clear of your new vision, your values, and your voice, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like when you see other people, you say, oh no, that's not the voice that I want to have. That's not the way that I'm going to run that. That's not the way that I want to be perceived. So what is the way that you do want to be perceived? So that you can work on that and you are intentional about the way that you come across, because you can 100% be intentional about how you show up. And that is key to being able to present yourself in the way that you want to be presented and for people to begin to see you in a different way. And it does take time, and it does sometimes even take removing yourself from a different work area or location. What I did is on the next step, when I knew that I wanted to have a higher level position, I had learned to be a supervisor. Then I went into a manager position. The manager jobs, these jobs require different skills again. What do? You reassess, right? You say, okay, what's working? What's outdated, and how do people perceive me, right? This includes reviewing your mission, your vision, your messaging. What am I working on? Is it sending the message that I want, right? What you want to do is you want to see what the messaging is. What are you saying with your behaviors? What are you saying with your thoughts? What are you saying with how you present yourself, with even with what you're wearing? Right now, you're in a manager job. Now you're thinking, okay, what are the skills that I need? What is it that I want to do? How is it that I want to do it? For me, I recognize that where I was working in New Jersey for that time, I needed a real rebranding, and I needed to take myself out the current circle so that I can start fresh and start somewhere new. And what I did is, because I saw that women were getting promoted in New York, I needed to move where the opportunity was, and I was seeing it there. So what I did is I decided to go ahead and apply for a job that came up where I was a great contender for it. And I knew that I needed to be able to, present myself in a way that was true to me, because I can tell you one thing: I have always been true to me. The colors that I wear are the colors that I wear. My tattoos are the tattoos that I have. Like, I've had them forever. I have one on my left wrist, and I have one on my right arm, and I have three other ones, but I'm still going to be me, right? And but how can I bring my full authentic self into the workplace and then be that person that I want to be, right? So I wanted to be a great leader. I have always wanted to be a person who had a lot of impact. Really, that's what it was about. It's always been about impact anywhere I went. And in the beginning, yes, I was in survival mode most of the time, but I learned not to be in survival mode anymore the higher I went and the more strategic I became, and the more I began to really, see, okay, how does this move? What's going on? Who are the key people? Who can I talk to? Where do I go? What's important here? And what's important to me? The one thing that I always did was what was important to me, my life, my family. How does it positively affect us? And that is always how I've made my decisions. And I rely 100% on that. The other part too is, if something fell off, okay, then this is off, right? And I check myself first though. I always check myself and say, hey, is it just me? Am I just acting crazy? Is this true? right? Let me see if what I'm thinking is actually appropriate. And sometimes you do sense things are off. And when things are off, it's you're probably going in the wrong direction, or it's new and it's uncomfortable to you. So those are the kinds of things that I was always asking myself, like, is it because it's new and I just don't know what I'm doing and I'm doing it for the first time? Then I just need to, hone in on my decision making, and that I've made the right decision, and that I know how to make decisions based on my personal views, and know that I've had great success by making those decisions and doing the right thing for myself. I go ahead and take a look at what is next for me, right? So for me, leaving New Jersey was appropriate, and I went to work into New York. So then now while I'm in New York, now I had this manager title. And then I just kept thinking, okay, like, I want to be known as a leader. I want to have impact. In order for you to have impact, you want to be in positions where you can create the impact. It wasn't so much about the titles, because it's never been about the titles for me. I've led from many different spaces and many different ways and many different positions throughout my life. I began to work in the employee business resource groups. That really helped me to become a leader, become a person who was influencing and being ahead of the trends and actually being the trend. That was where I really, really shined. I recognized that really quickly. And I said to myself, you know what? This is a great space where I am a leader in an employee business resource group. And I demonstrated that I had the ability to work with other people, create projects that were meeting the moment, creating initiatives and executing them. I started there. I got noticed and I was able to bring it into the executive world. I became an executive. This is where I was really, really able to go ahead and have that impact that I was looking for so long. It took me 20 years to be able to get to that point, to the point where I was able to even craft my job and be able to make it what it is today, and be able to do the different things that I'm doing and working on the different things that I'm working on and having the success that I have. It's all great and dandy. Everything is going well. The pandemic hits, right? We're making strides. Everybody's working together. We're doing awesome. And then I go into this zone where I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like, I need something else. I want something else. There's more to what I'm currently doing. That's where you start thinking, when you have those feelings and things become uncomfortable and people exit out of your life, and there's just like a lot of change that happens. You start to think, okay, what's next for me, right? You start thinking about what it is that you want to do. And this is where coaching came into my life. And the people were beginning to coach me, right? What got you here won't get you there. It's so true. It's so true. And so then now I needed to think about, okay, yes, I love my job. I love everything that I'm doing. But then now I want to become this coach who is doing leadership coaching. I want to be leading and I want to have impact outside of my organization, and I want to reach wider. I was able to go ahead and recreate my branding and recreate who I am. It's been an amazing journey because you have so much creativity, so much freedom, and doing it on your own. Being an entrepreneur is super cool. Everything is your decision. You're the executor of everything. You are the chief executive officer of all the decisions. It really, really has been one of the best things I have ever done, because I'm able to pick who I want to work with. Are these things in alignment with my core values? Are the people that I work with the kinds of clients that I want to work with, right? Sometimes when you're doing it for other people, you are chosen to do these things and you are told who you're going to work with and what you're going to do. I was more like an entrepreneur. I needed to be able to have autonomy. The beautiful opportunity to become a author came into play. Now, how do I brand myself as an author? I've been intentional about it. I can move forward and move on and go in a different direction and continue to grow, because what I have, I can bring what I learned, but now I can take it and be able to help. It's been amazing to be able to see that you can level up and you can rebrand yourself and you can go ahead and look at yourself differently and say, this is the new me. This is who I am. This is where I'm at today. Because doing something new is uncomfortable at times because you don't know what you're doing and you can't see what you can't see and you don't know what you don't know. But as you go through it and you dive in and you immerse yourself and you get those 10,000 hours, then you actually start to say, oh, okay, this point is where I'm really going to be good at my job, or I'm really going to know all the ins and outs of the craft. I'm working on this and I need at least 10,000 hours to make sure that I have a good foundation and good knowledge, but I work on it every day. I don't waste my time. I don't waste anybody else's time either. And I'll even say, okay, if I'm working on this 4 hours a day or 4 hours a week, in order for me to get to that 10,000 hours, this is how long it's going to take. And then I'll set the date on the side and I'll have that as countdown as to how long it'll take me. That's why sometimes you see me doing more of one thing, because I know it's going to take me that long to get to expertise level, to subject matter expert level. That's the whole point of it. I don't just come in thinking, oh, you know what, I'm this big deal because I'm here. No, it takes time to become a big deal. It takes time, it takes your work. You need to put in the hours and you need to learn. The best thing about this is that teaching others, you learn more. That's how you actually make sure that you did learn what you set out to learn. It's important for you to be intentional about what it is that you want to portray. It took me meeting myself, it took me working on myself with coaches, mentors, sponsors, therapists. I had a whole team support me. My family supports me. My wife supports me. My kids support me. My granddaughter supports me. You can rely on them. You will get to the next step and you will get to the next level. If you're in a position of rebranding, it's okay. Go ahead, do the work, do the research, take a look at where you want to be, and go ahead and work on it day in and day out. And you can figure it out. Even people that are in the podcasting world, they told me the same thing. You start with one thing, and as you go, you find your voice, or things change, or things move, or times change, and you adjust through trial and error. You can figure it out. Hey, there's always time to rebrand yourself, and the times are definitely changing. It may be time to do so. If everything is working out well, then perfect. I'm pretty sure that as I continue on, I may need to do it again. At least now I know I have the basics. So I can take a look and be intentional about it. Now you can too. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Latina Mic Drop, and welcome to the second quarter of 2025. Take care. Tuning in to Latina Mic Drop. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're building something extraordinary together. If today's episode inspired you, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. For one-on-one coaching and more resources, follow me on your favorite social media platforms at author Miriam Simon, or visit my website at Miriam Simon Online. Until next time, keep turning your tattoos into pearls of wisdom and your dreams into reality. Stay strong, stay focused, and let's make history.